Charlie, do you want to tell him or shall I?
So today we are here at a track in London doing a bit of a debrief from our recent marathon in Rome, aren't we?
Yeah.
Doing a little bit of a session, a little bit just to sit down, talk about how it came to be and how it actually was.
Yeah.
The whole experience, really.
Rome Marathon debrief. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
And what better place to do it than a running track?
How does it compare to your other marathons that you've done?
Oh, straight in for it.
Yeah.
I think top 2.
Really?
It could be the best, you know.
Damn.
I think given everything, you know.
Yeah, it's a bloody good race, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because of the achievement, just the memories and everything associated with it. Not only that, the race itself was really cool. I think there were parts of like the route that were a little bit mundane /
Yeah.
But they've got to make a
People
route that's 26 miles, so what are you going to do? Do you know what I mean? But overall, it was a great route.
I've heard Paris is a great route, apparently.
It is sublime.
Apparently I heard Paris is a phenomenal route.
Monday Mood Booster 2026 Paris Marathon is going to happen.
Let's get it, yeah.
So, yeah, I absolutely loved that marathon. So I've done Paris, London, Copenhagen, Manchester, and a virtual New Forest full marathon, and now Rome. The top 3 for sure, I can tell you straight away without any doubt, is Paris, London, and Rome. I just for different reasons. I think this is the top just because of everything that was, helping you, helping the rest of the club, sharing that. I will always prefer sharing experiences with people, as I've said many times. So being able to run that race with you and see you make that like life-changing achievement, it was I was so warm and fuzzy inside, I guess. And the same for the rest of the club, seeing everyone come back one by one, like just tears of joy, completely broken, but you're supposed to be, and just oh my god, it was insane, and I loved it so much.
It was good, wasn't it?
So probably the best.
Lots of fun,
in terms of like vibes, Paris was far superior.
Really?
I did say to you, and I didn't like once, and then I was like, actually don't say that because this is your first and I don't want you to feel any type of way other than amazing. I kind of regretted saying it instantly. The crowds weren't very good at Rome.
No, I thought that. Some parts they were, but for the majority they were just standing watching.
Yeah, they were a bit dead, and they just, where there were crowds, they just stand there looking at you. Whereas, for example, like Paris.
Yeah.
Say what you want about the French. But Paris Marathon.
I do.
Paris Marathon, they were phenomenal, and it was like just constantly like pure vibes, which as a runner, when there were like rowdy people every now and again at Rome, you literally do go faster. You have to like actively slow yourself down because you do start speeding up.
Yeah, it's nuts, isn't it?
So yeah, I mean, the vibes at Paris are incredible. Obviously, the vibes at London are incredible. London top because it was my PB time.
And it's an insane. People say it's the best marathon in the world.
Yeah, I mean it is. It's beautiful. I think given that we live in London, maybe it's a bit of that novelty wearing off. Whereas like running around Paris is just absolutely beautiful. But yeah, it's all your first marathon. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
Talk to us. Tell us.
Well, I don't even know where to start really. To start with my expectations, I think that's probably a little bit smart for me to start with that. Yeah, so my expectations with what the marathon was going to be compared to how it actually was. I think the image I had in my mind of what the marathon was going to be was this unbelievably, massive thing, impossible. Because I'd never gotten to the full 42, I envisioned these last 6 just being like soul-crushing or destroying. But as I got up to 36 in my training plan, it was just the last 6 kilometers. When I hit 36 during the run, I wasn't really thinking of, oh my god, I've got an insane amount left. I was just thinking, I'm almost done. I've almost finished the marathon. That's it. That's all I was thinking. That is actually very much within arm's reach. And so each kilometer, even though it very much towards the end went up and down. Like 1 second I felt strong, the next I felt awful, felt sick. Even in those bad moments, I was still like, this is so doable. Like, my body can easily make this. It's just my mind.
That's so cool.
So knowing that my body was very much capable of running that was quite a nice feeling as well. I had a phenomenal time. I do love Italy and the Italians. I think they're just brilliant, and the country's brilliant as well. obviously I don't have anything to compare it to, like Paris or London. But overall, I'd say the experience, start to finish, of the race itself was brilliant. I had fun, which is actually something I didn't realize I would as well during the race. I felt stronger than I thought I would as well, which was a big surprise. I think around 28, 29 kilometers, I felt really strong, which was...
You were strong the whole way round. The whole way round. I kept saying to him, I was like, you make this look so easy.
Yeah.
And whether you're feeling that or not, like your appearance, you make it look so easy. And when I do check-ins every however long, every time I was like, yep, I'm fine. And yeah, I know you said about self-preservation, and you're telling yourself you're fine if you didn't feel fine.
I think I didn't really want to, break the image of not looking fine too early on, so that it would have actually had an effect. I feel like if it was like by kilometer 19, I very could have easily been like, oh, another half of this, but I wasn't letting myself sort of feel that tiredness or even look it, because if I had, I think that could have easily snowballed into me genuinely finding it really hard as well.
It was mental resilience, isn't it? And whatever games you're playing in your mind, we all have to sort of do that and adopt that. And you were doing that, having that mental resilience, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
And not allowing yourself to go there because you knew that it would just then continue and perpetuate.
Yeah, I said to you yesterday, and I'm not sure I even consciously thought this up until recently, but for the longest time we were just like, oh, sub 4 is what we're going for. That's the time. And I was very much convinced that, it was fine, it was well within reach, and I was, not settling. But on the day, on the day before at least, these thoughts were crept in, being like, you can probably get sub 3:45, but you'd be settling if you went for sub 4. I think on the morning of, I had that thought a couple of times. I didn't let it float around too much, because I was like, no, you haven't trained enough for it. When we started running at a 5:15 pace, I kept on saying 5:15, 5:20. I was like, we're going quicker than I thought we would, because I thought it was between a 5:27 and a 5:40 pace or something. And then from like 10 till 20, I saw like 5:05. I was like, we're going way quicker than I thought we were. But I didn't feel that bad. And I think about halfway, I was like, this is probably doable. About 5k onwards from that, you then turned around and said, listen, if you hold this pace for the next 9 kilometers, you can get sub 3:45. I remember it vividly. The corner we were turning, I got goosebumps completely. I was like, there's no way in hell I can't get sub 3:45. Like, thoughts in my mind were like, when your kids ask you what time you got, what do you want to say, sub 4, sub 3:45, which is a little bit silly in itself. But that sort of stuff is actually what keeps me going when I'm going around, is bragging rights.
Bragging rights.
Ego and bragging rights.
Ego and bragging rights. Love that for you.
Carries the men. That's it.
It was really nice. You also set your WhatsApp up on your watch, right?
I did. So... That was amazing. So yeah, I set the WhatsApp notifications on my Garmin. I told my family I will actively be reading these. So every mile or so, I was getting WhatsApp notifications from my mum, from my grandparents, from my brothers, and that was just lovely for them just saying, keep on going, you're running hard, all this sort of stuff. We are willing you on. Like, when you're in the trenches and you see that, it's just nice.
For sure.
Like, you can have people on the sidelines reading out your name from your t-shirt, but when you've obviously got someone who you care about saying, I believe in you, all this sort of stuff, it's absolutely lovely, I think.
It was, yeah. I think I had that on the London, where I was also running by myself. It made so much more of a difference as well, because you're just running by yourself, and they were actually coming through in my headphones, like being read to me, and it was
that's nice.
Yeah, just a message by message of being like, we're watching you, like, keep going, you're doing, and it's like, it was just really helpful.
That's nice.
Having that spirit with you.
That's lovely.
Yeah, really nice.
Yeah.
Goodness. So 3:45. Well, 3:44:55.
Exactly. Actually,
5 seconds.
5 seconds
below.
before.
I'm not gonna lie, that was a touch and go moment. Going around that corner, and then looking at my watch, because obviously the pacing and your kilometers on your watch are never really accurate when you go that far as a marathon.
Yeah.
So you have to, for me, I put the splits on my arm and write them down. So then I put them in accordance with when we pass a 10k mark or whatever that the race have put out. I know, okay, that's when we're actually at 10k. Yeah.
Gosh, because I was like half a kilometer sometimes before there.
Yeah. So then we got round the corner, and I'd been working it out. So when we got to 10k, I'd be like, okay, cross reference. When we got to half marathon, cross reference with what was on my arm, so I could work back and do the maths. And then each time I was like, okay, we're getting closer to 3:45. This is looking really good. And then we literally got round the corner for the last 200 meters or 100 meters. I was like, we have literally under a minute, and we've got still 50 meters to run or whatever, or 100 meters. And I was just like, sprint, you've got to sprint. Go, Charlie, go.
Run, Forrest,
and you did. And I, in that very moment, neither of us were sure whether we'd just made it or not. And when you're playing with 5 seconds, of course, you're not going to know. But lo and behold, we had made it, which was bloody brilliant. Very exciting.
Unbelievable. I remember in that bridge. Do you remember that bridge about 37k, which we had to go down and through?
Yeah.
The like sort of tunnel. People in there were like on the floor. It looked like a zombie.
Oh my god! Yeah, people being sick. People on the floor.
I don't know what it was. That tunnel, sort of everyone was just caved in. It looked like something out of like World War Z.
And then someone fell over in front of us. I was like, Charlie, carry on. I'll be with you in a minute.
Oh my god! Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and luckily someone else was helping him, so I was able to just straight away carry on. But
I remember that.
just fell over in front of us.
I felt half bad, but I also didn't.
No,
like, I've got stuff to do. So
I had it. It was absolutely
best
fine.
luck with you on your mission, but. I'm on a self-preservation journey here. So.
And then someone else dropped his Beats headphones in front of us.
Yep.
And just, you could see the desperation in his eyes, but he was like, I can't go back, I've got to carry on. And I was like, it's all right, James, I've got you.
He turned around, picked them up, and he's like, oh, thanks for that, mate.
And then someone else was like, it's James over there. I was like, I know it's James, because he had James on his t-shirt. And I went up to him and was like, mate, I've been dropping everything this whole run, I just can't do it. I was like, it's all right, I've got you, mate, don't worry.
Classic James. He used to
Classic
get a grip.
James, what a guy. What a guy. You might see this. Hi, James.
Hey, James, you're right.
Well done on your marathon. You definitely finished, because that was like a kilometre 42, but 40.
It was kilometre 40.5. It was well into the final bits there.
Yeah. And then some guy, we were going hard at like 41, 40 to 41, and I was like every few seconds like, come on Charlie, let's do this, let's do this, whatever, because it was needed at that point. And this guy, you could see, was like observing very much like in the moment with us, and then tried to be like, so where are you guys from? I was like, my guy, I love talking to anyone
not
at the best
now.
times, but
not now. Hey, read a room, buddy. We're at 39 kilometres in.
And I didn't know what to say. I was like, London, what about you? He's like, Kent. And I was like, actually, no, we cannot.
You're like, sorry, I've got to go.
I was like, I'm really sorry, mate. Great run, but I cannot do it.
He was a bit fuming. He was like,
he took it. I was like, I'm very clearly trying to help this guy get what's he like?
He wasn't a happy bunny, was he?
No, he wasn't.
He was not a happy bunny indeed.
But yeah, we just thought we'd come out to the track this morning, do some stretching, do a little jogging, have a little debrief.
I've not done much jogging. My legs are still in a pretty bad way, but it's always good to get a bit of movement in.
It is indeed. And
although, you can go on these weekends when Rome's lovely, obviously. It's a beautiful, European, as the Americans would say, city. But we don't live there. We live here in London, and this is the day in and day out, isn't it?
Yep.
Daily movement.
This is the daily movement.
Getting outside, and this is what matters most.
Yep, exactly.
This is what it's all for.
Indeed, and it's pretty glorious this morning.
It's lovely, isn't it? It was 0 degrees, and it feels like 10, 15 now.
Yeah, I think
it's nice.
Mentally, there's so much about like, if we were in Rome, sitting at a track like this. I went to Munich at a track like this in Munich. And I could imagine myself being like, God, I don't want to go home. This is so glorious sitting on this track in this very moment. But so much of that is just the schema I built up in my head about being on a holiday in the sun on a track, whereas I'm literally at home right now, able to do that.
Yeah.
But because it's a baseline, because it's a normal.
If we were in Rome, if you had this scenery could easily look like we're in Rome. It's not particularly romantic, but a lot of Rome isn't like that as well. You could easily be in a track in Rome. Would you feel any different after like the novelty of being in Rome wears off? You don't. It's a novelty, I feel like.
Yeah, it's actually glorious this morning.
I'm glad I could do the first marathon in Rome. That's cool.
Yeah, it's so cool.
One of the biggest things I like about running, I think, is the excuse it gives me to go to these cool places, to like run in these really cool places. It allows me to like say, oh, I'm going away on this weekend or this here, but it's for a race but it's for a run. For some reason, it just feels cooler that you could do like I could easily do a weekend away in Rome anyway. But the fact that I can still have the weekend away, do all the touristy stuff, and then do a marathon on the Sunday, and come back as usual is quite cool, I think. Really cool. One of my favourite things about running is the fact that you can just explore and go anywhere. Oh my god! And my favourite runs are when you are like when we were in Inverness and you were doing work, and I was on my lunch break, and I just ran along the beach for and I could have kept going, but I was like, I was doing an out and back. I was like, I have to run back still, so let me turn around. But I could have just kept going and going and going because I was just seeing a new place, exploring, and just having a lovely time. It's so beautiful. And I mean, we have potentially several other trips coming up. I think we do, don't we? Some more races. What I liked as well after after the marathon, everyone was sat down. We went back to the bag drop, and it was like a scene out of a movie. It was like a movie, bro. People kept on sort of joining the group one by one after they'd finished, sort of hobbling along, either crying of joy or whatever it was. People sort of joined the group back, and everyone would get up, sort of like, people would get up. Every person came back to like greet them back to the camp and be like, "Well done, you've made it." Everyone would hug and take pictures. It was lovely. Most people said that they'd do another marathon
instantaneously, which is
a bit nuts.
Yeah, a lot of people take a bit of time to defrost and be like, okay, after
a month
of having forgotten the pain because my brain's made me numb to it. I can maybe entertain the idea of doing another one, but instantly people were like, yeah, let's do another one, let's lock one in.
I think that the actual marathon is the fun bit. It's the training up to it which isn't the fun bit.
Yeah,
like it's the 36k when you go to Bradford and do that. That's not the fun part. It's when you're in Rome doing the hard thing. That's the cool part. It's the early mornings in the cold is the less fun part. So
definitely, and that's why the commentators say at the beginning, and like they mean it. It's like, this is the victory lap. This is the celebration. You deserve this. So enjoy it because you've done all the hard work now, and that is true.
It is. I think that's probably why a lot of people after the marathon day would be like, yeah, let's do it again, just because they had lots of fun. All that was hard, but this is saying about them, but just in general, if you were to say, do you want to do the entire process again? Do you want to do the entire early morning, the long 30Ks on weekends again? Because that's what's needed to do the marathon. That's a different story, I think.
Yeah.
But an important one as well, because it wouldn't feel nearly as good finishing if you hadn't done that stuff.
100%.
It would feel a lot more empty, vapid. It wouldn't have that gravitas or that depth of feeling if you hadn't done that level of work.
It's the same in all sort of areas of life, isn't it? Like when you put in the work and you're dedicated to something, it's so much more rewarding,
of course,
when you see that outcome, as opposed to if you've kind of just walked into something without having done any work.
Of course,
it's still a nice feeling, but nowhere near as rewarding and gratifying, because it's like, okay, that's that deferred gratification paying off, and me showing resilience, perseverance, all those things is giving me a reward in the long run. It's really really nice. And you own it then as well, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's lovely. I wonder what will be the next marathon. I mean, I've got 2 coming up in the next
3 weeks.
Brighton Marathon in 2.5 weeks, and then London Marathon thereafter.
When you think of that, do you like get this sinking sort of pit in your stomach? Because obviously you can run the distance fairly all right now.
You can run the distance. What? Sorry.
You can go the distance in fairly all right, like without any sort of pain, apart from your foot, obviously.
Yeah.
Like when you think of doing those marathons, do you have like the sinking pit, or you're like, I'll just get it done?
I don't know. I'm not really thinking about it. It will just happen. Yeah, it will just happen. I think on the day, like up to Rome, I was absolutely fine and really excited. And then on the morning, I wasn't like really scared, but I was just like, you just get your game mindset on. So in the morning, I was needing a bit of space. I was needing some time just to think and not talk and all those sorts of things. But that's just a sort of match jitters that anyone actually gets. I think on the larger scale, I'm currently not really thinking about it or getting stressed, just because at this stage, I think, where I'm slightly more used to it now, and it'll be my 7th and 8th marathons. Yeah. It's kind of one of those, it never gets easy, and I never want to take away the achievement, because it's always hard, and it's always for me, something to revel in and be extremely proud of. But I think, that a lot of those nerves and angst comes from unfamiliarity to anything, whether it's a 5K, a half marathon, or, anything in life. When you haven't done something before, you're nervous about doing it. Performance anxiety and just experiencing something for the first time. When you've done something over and over again, that those nerves aren't really there as much. So for me, it's kind of like, I've got a marathon, and it's going to be hard, but we know the drill. Let's go in, let's lock in, let's go through the pain, and let's get it done. I remember distinctly my first race was a 10-miler Great South Run in Portsmouth, and my nerves were all around like being in the wrong place at the start line, looking like an idiot at the start line, standing out like a sore thumb at the start line, like all of those sort of like not knowing where my bag's going to go, getting lost. For me anyway, it was less about, and I wasn't like an amazing runner then, it was less about the actual run itself, it was more everything around it, having never done it before. And I think that's the same for a lot of people.
I think it is. It's probably like a lot of people, I mean, there are so many barriers to entry with any of these sort of things.
Yeah.
Obviously, the distance is the main thing with the
Mhm.
marathon, but anything is like doing something new, being in a new area. It's the fear of change, isn't it? I think, and it's putting yourself out there and saying,
Yeah.
you know what, flip it. I'm going to do it and see what happens. That's when it opens up to a lot of magic avenues.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you can take that step in that sort of courageous direction, it's very fun. It's
is.
very fulfilling as well.
It is.
Something I still to this day find weird is that any distance you do, even if it's 3K, about half or just under halfway, your brain will be like, you're in tatters. I've done 3Ks before with you, and I'm like, oh, 1.0, I'm so tired. Objectively, I'm not.
It's so
I'm
funny.
absolutely fine.
Yeah.
In that marathon there, I got to 28. I was like, I'm feeling absolutely fresh as a daisy.
Yeah.
There's that makes no sense.
Mm.
And it's your mind knows when there's an end before it starts kicking in and becoming the
100%.
worst enemy.
Which why it shows you that yes, of course, you need physical fitness to be able to run a marathon, but so much of these races are mental. Like you'll do a 10K, you're like, oh my god, how could I possibly do another one of those to a half marathon if you were to do the race? But then if you're doing a half marathon race, when you get to 10K, you haven't even like thought of that. It's all like so relative to the overall distance. Or like you say, you could do a 3K and halfway. What the hell? I've still got 1.5K to go. But then ordinarily, you'd run a half marathon, and in at 3K, you wouldn't have even felt like you'd started or you'd even begun. It's the relative mindset is very real. And something that reinforces to me that it is a mind game, so much so.
It is.
To work through.
It's
definitely.
funny.
I know. So how are you feeling?
How am I feeling post-marathon? Overall, very accomplished. I know I've said that a few times now, but it's just the truth. I think very happy with myself. Quite, not surprised, but I don't know, very... Yeah, I'd say a little bit surprised at how well the body can adapt to different scenarios, you know. Like, I know even a year ago, a marathon just sounded absolutely ridiculous. The fact I've just gotten it done, and 2-3 days later my legs are feeling semi-alright.
Well,
it shows the body can really adapt very quickly.
Don't externalize that. Like, you're someone who looks after yourself. You do your training, you do your mobility, you eat very, very well.
Of course,
all of those things you've put in the work to make your body agile to this.
Yeah, of course, yeah. So it's probably that as well. But no, I'm just very much enjoying the fact that I'm capable of doing that.
Yeah.
I'm very, very grateful that I have the ability to do those things and thus feel these things as well. But I think if I was to zoom out, it's more the idea of me setting a goal, a very big goal, and achieving it. That's actually where that feeling comes from, not just necessarily the running or the me doing it. It's the accomplishment of this big thing. Yeah. I think that's actually where the feeling comes from, which is nice as well. I don't know, I just feel very grateful to be able to experience this sort of depth of feeling. It's a very deep emotion to feel, very, deeply rooted sense of fulfillment and accomplishment, and the fact I get to feel that is super, super grateful for that as well. It's a lovely feeling.
Nice.
I want to set another goal so I can feel it again.
I was going to say, that's really nice. And my next question was going to be about post-marathon blues. Now,
I've
that's
not
something
hit them yet.
Good, I'm glad. Yeah. And I know we spoke about this before, but it's something that we're told, you get post-marathon blues, so then you kind of expect it. But if you're not feeling it, then also great.
I'm not.
No. And unpacking that, we've spoken about because we've got so much going on at the moment, and we're achieving so much and being so productive in many ways. There's not really scope or time to have that, because it's like, well, on to the next achievement.
I think because we have other things booked in as well, like a triathlon, for instance, in June, July. I thought that shifts the focus of my training into a new area again, which is nice. I think that adds a new novelty to something. Cycling, the swimming, still is probably a very intense level of training, but I'm looking forward to that pivot as well. And this is coming out the back of winter, so the marathon training has carried me through that. So I think a multitude of things is moving into a new season, new style of training, new things for us too as well, with everything with the podcast. So I think a culmination of those three things, I think, really reduces these post-marathon blues. I know if this was, for instance, in November time, would have just been in Rome, it was lovely, finished that race, had nothing going on, I came back and be like, probably been a bit of a different story.
Yeah, and I think this is a whole conversation for another time, but I also think, one can find themselves in a state of putting a lot of weight onto something like a marathon when there's a lot of other things going on in their life, or discomfort or displeasure or lack of whatever. So looking forward to that and having that accomplishment is great. And then but unfortunately when it's over, it's kind of like flip. We're back to all of those things that we were kind of masking or trying to ignore by focusing so much on this marathon. But for yourself, I'm speaking for you, but I feel like I'm accurate. You've been doing so much work on actively, looking after yourself anyway in the last however many months.
Of course.
And you're in such a good headspace relatively that there's potentially less of that sort of drop off of like,
probably,
oh crap, we're back to feeling rubbish about myself and all these things because
I've been putting in
you've been already putting in the work to get to a really good space.
I'd say that's probably quite accurate. I think because I was working to a place where I was content without the marathon being a thing. It's just added. It's not being the thing I've structured or rooted or anchored my own well-being around. It's been an addition. It's like, because everything that was going on without the marathon, I was saying to you before, we almost didn't allow ourselves the space to get excited for it, which is ridiculous in itself. So when it did come around, we're like, oh my god, here's this amazing thing, this is fantastic. Go back to how we were before, but how we were before, we're still excited and working on other things, which is a lovely place to be.
It's so nice.
So just overall really grateful that I've been able to experience something so full on at such a young age in such a cool place, which a lot of people haven't been able to experience. I'm super grateful for that. And I think if I'm going to give myself any sort of kudos, not on Strava but in real life, it's give myself some testament to the fact that we were the people who made this happen. We booked it in, we did the training, did the organization of it. That sort of happened from us. It didn't happen to us. So I think that's obviously giving ourselves some good testament.
Yeah, and on that front, I can fall in the trap where, I guess if you're asking,
I'm asking
how I feel.
How are you feeling?
I can fall in the trap, especially now where I've been running for almost 1,600 days. And I actively try to challenge this all the time, but fall in the trap of, it becoming the everyday. Especially, those around me also feeling the same way. Of, oh, you're used to this now. You've run marathons before. This is easy for you. And actually, that's not the case. And I have really tried since coming back to sit with the achievement for myself. And yes, it's my 6th marathon, but it's still just as amazing as my first one. And it's such an accomplishment. The fact that I can run that far and I can do that to my body and my body can do that for me.
It's nice.
And do it with slight ease comparatively to potentially where I was doing my first one is huge. And I'm so proud of that. And I'm so excited that I'm in a place where that is the case for me. And that we've got one in 2 weeks and one in another 5 weeks. And the fact that is something that I'm able to do, touch wood, without sort of severely injuring myself or injuring myself at all, actually, is really, really cool, and something that I'm trying to be more proud of, and not just be like, oh yeah, it's another thing, because it's not just another thing. It's in itself huge, epic. And the fact that I can show up for my friends and do that for you. I'm internalizing the fact that I was a huge part of that achievement for you, and that the fact that I'm able to do that for a friend is something that I am beyond just made up about in myself, that I can do that for someone. And the fact that I can facilitate a club where all of those people come together and are an amazing group of people as one is also something I'm so proud of. And just feeling really happy about all of the above, and just in this moment, there's nothing about the future that I want to think about or whatever. It's just in this moment, I'm really happy that is what I've done, and that is what I am doing. And good for me.
Good for you, man. Good for you. Hell yeah. Beautiful. Well,
on that note,
could speak forever about this, but on that note,
we do have to go to work.
We do. What's the time?
9:30.
Whoopsie. Right, guys, we're going to shoot off now. Go back to our regular jobs. But we'll be seeing you probably in the next one. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Peace, guys.
And you don't need to do a marathon if you're not feeling like it.
No.
It all starts with going outside and going for a walk. It all starts there.
You don't even have to run. You can do whatever makes you happy and
go for a swim.
Makes you feel accomplished.
Just roll your ankle around on the floor a little
Yeah.
bit. Do a little bit of that. Do a little bit of salsa dancing if you want to.
Pick back up that crocheting that you did once and felt amazing about.
Yes. There's anything that you felt amazing about, do it.
Or acrylic painting.
Lean
Go
into
get that
what
canvas.
you're passionate about. Lean into it.
Yeah.
If anyone tells you to not do it, never speak to them again. Genuinely. Cut out everyone like that in your life. Do exactly what you love and stick to it true.
Yeah.
Be you.
Be you.
Be you.
Peace out.
Peace out, guys.
Lots of love.
Bye.
Hi.